Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I can see that is a lot of hecticness going on in the live comments from the get-go before I even said a word. Um, I've apparently been called out for deleting comments over here, which is not something that I do. I haven't been on the stream yet until I clicked the live button. So if you're commenting before the video is live, I can control what has been seen and what's not been seen, and what YouTube allows and what YouTube doesn't. You have your right to your opinion, and I have my right to my opinion. And I think that we should at least start this conversation by saying that, and that I don't judge you for your opinion, and you don't judge me for my opinion, and we should have an open forum where we can discuss this openly and freely, any concerns that you have. And the only thing that I would like to say to you all is that you seek understanding. If you do not understand something, ask us. We will try to teach you as much as we can about South African cricket, the history of South African cricket, all of those type of things that you need to know. If you have concerns about the quota system, put them in the comment section. We would like to have a conversation with you. But let's have an open and honest conversation where we're allowed to give each other our opinions, and not one where we're bashing each other for having those opinions and bashing each other's thought processes. So first and foremost, I need to just put that out there. I'm sorry that you feel that your comments have been deleted, but that is not me that has done that. We put the title in the video, and it's already been scrutinized before we even said a word. And that is something that needs to obviously be discussed. Now let's bring on Aditya onto the stream, because he's going to help me out with this particular show. This is a discussion we had a little bit earlier, and we thought that it would be a good discussion to bring to the fans. So welcome to the show, Aditya. Great to see you. I had to just put out a few fires before we started, even before we even uttered a word. So these are things to discuss. Okay, let's get into it. The title of this video, of course, is IPL contracts for young South Africans, i.e. there's Marco Jansen, there's obviously Gerald Coetzee. Is it good or bad for South African cricket? Now, the question I'm posing is not, is it good or bad for Gerald or Marco? That's whether it is good or bad for South African cricket as a whole, for our youngsters to be poached by the IPL. Now, I've not said a word yet of whether I say it's right or wrong yet. So let's just have an open discussion about it first. So let me go first, Aditya, before you start. I think that it's brilliant for Gerald. In fact, I messaged Gerald just before the show, a couple of hours ago, and I messaged him to say, I'll read it out to you. Brother, I'm so proud of you. Good luck over there. Please stay safe and be careful. That is my message to Gerald today. And he's replied to me, and he said thanks for the message. To Marco, when he got signed to the Mumbai Indians, I congratulated him too. He responded to me too, and we have a very good relationship, actually, myself and Gerald and Marco Jansen. And this is not a flex. This is just so you guys are going to understand where I'm coming from in my position, so that you do understand where I'm coming from as a person trying to bring a neutral conversation to an unbiased conversation to the public. That's my whole job here as a host, is to be as unbiased as possible. And that's what I try to do. There will be occasions where you guys ask me questions and I give you my opinion, but I'll make it very clear when I'm giving my opinion and when I'm just trying to make a conversation. I think this is brilliant experience for Gerald. I think this is brilliant experience for Marco, and they deserve the opportunity to be able to play in the IPL. We have to also think about how it came about that they got an opportunity to be able to play in IPL cricket, because there are other youngsters that maybe haven't been seen by the world stage, whereas Marco has been. And also, you need to understand the South African connection when it comes to having in the setup as well, because a lot of the IPL teams will have connections in other parts of the country. They're looking for something specific. I feel that Gerald Coetzee is him being accepted or getting a contract in the IPL is because of his pace. I think 100% his pace has a lot to do with it, and his performances in the Mzansi Super League, which we saw. Now, Gerald hasn't been in the South African lineup, not because he's not good enough. It's because of injuries that has hampered him over the last couple of years. he hasn't been able to pull a consistent run of performances at domestic level to be able to be selected into the teams yet. So you're not picking on sentiment, you're picking on also on performances as well. But that's besides the point. So let's just first get into the part of whether it's good or whether it's bad for South African cricket. And there are two sides to the story. There are a school of thought that believe that this is bad for South African cricket, and there's a school of thought that will believe that it is good. I think that to any side, to any story, there's always two sides. Let's explore both. When it comes to the fact that they're getting so much experience in IPL, I think it's brilliant for the both of them. And I think for South Africa and South African cricket, it's also good because it's displaying the talent pool that we have in South Africa. People are saying that we're not producing talented players, but yet South African players are getting picked up in the IPL. Another school of thought is, and another thing, an argument is, a lot of people criticize Rassie van der Dussen when he came onto the scene, saying that he can never be an AB de Villiers and he'll never be as good as AB de Villiers and he'll never be worth South African cricket. Those were the schools of thoughts and the comments that were being thrown around on social media and in various articles, that he doesn't deserve to play for South Africa. Yet he's been picked up by the IPL team, who you guys have also said that the IPL is the best league in the world. And he's been picked up by the best league in the world by a team. He was initially picked up, I'm saying, before in the past, and he had an opportunity to be picked up now recently. But obviously you can explain, Aditya, why it fell through. But he was seen, he was on the radar of IPL teams as a possible on the lips of some people. So yes, it's good for South African cricket from that perspective. I think that because we're getting a lot of South African cricket on the radar. What is your thoughts on it? Is it good or is it bad? Is there an argument for why it could be bad, is the question.
My view is that it's excellent for South African cricket because we've been having a conversation about the gap between the first choice players and the second choice players in the South African team. And we saw how when the IPL stars left midway through the Pakistan tour, it was the bowling that really got exposed in that series against world-class Pakistani batting. So when Marco Jansen, Gerald Coetzee get opportunities at the IPL, they're going to be battle-hardened by the time they return to South Africa. They're going to elevate the standard of South African domestic cricket. And ultimately, when they become international cricketers, it's going to help them prepare against the best players in the world. So Marco Jansen, and let's not forget his brother, Dwan Jansen, is also in the Mumbai Indians setup, but he's playing there as a net bowler. He doesn't have an official contract just yet. It's excellent exposure. Marco Jansen, he's played a couple of games for the Mumbai Indians and he's done well as a bowler as well as a fielder. And it can only bode well for South African cricket. For Gerald Coetzee, he was contracted by the Rajasthan Royals. He is in India now and he's had a training session. He's going to be an X-factor bowler for the Rajasthan Royals, particularly since Jofra Archer was injured and he couldn't make it to the IPL because of surgery. So Gerald Coetzee is going to provide that X-factor to the Rajasthan Royals bowling, which has up until this point looked quite depleted. So it can, like, mentally as well as physically, the exposure will be excellent for South African cricket.
Mm-hmm. Now, some people might say there will be a school of thought maybe that will say that this is maybe bad for South African cricket, that at such a young age our talent is getting taken over to India from such a young age, and their price tags are going up and their values going up in South African cricket, of course. That's also going to be a school of thought that maybe people will look at. Aditya, if you think of it from a bad perspective, is there any way that there are some negatives with regards to these youngsters maybe getting an opportunity? Is there any way of seeing a negative? Because at the moment, I can't really see much negatives from this.
I don't. Perhaps what we don't want to see as a result of the IPL is the physical strain taking a toll on their bodies. So Gerald Coetzee has just recovered from injury, and what we don't want to see is him really putting that pressure on his body without getting his bowling volume back up. That's a concern. I'd say the same for Marco Jansen. He's pretty young, and he still needs that time to get used to the rigor of of IPL cricket.
Mhm.
I guess what's advantageous to both of them right now is that the structure of the IPL this year is that you have like 5 games in a city, then you have 5 games in another city. So normally when COVID is not a barrier, teams are actually traveling from one city to the next like every single day, and we've seen the number of times that has resulted in injuries for in subsequent tours after the IPL. So that's I think that's an advantage for both of these guys this year. But what you normally don't want to see is players getting exhausted after an IPL or players getting injured after an IPL, because at this stage in their career, they don't really need that. And we can only hope that they finish this IPL season with only positives.
Some people, I mean, if I think about it as well, like there's a lot of people calling for Michal Pretorius to be selected in the Proteas setup immediately. He should be next in line with regards to the Proteas setup. Personally, when I look at it and the people want to compare now, they want to say, for example, that Marco Jansen getting picked into the IPL. IPL is the best league in the world, and it is the best T20 league in the world. But Marco Jansen gets an opportunity before a guy like Michal Pretorius. Gerald Coetzee gets an opportunity before a guy like, let me think of another fast bowler that is maybe doing well, that is older, maybe like an Andre Berger, who has gotten an opportunity to play for South Africa before someone like Gerald Coetzee. So what are the thought processes behind India's choices or the Indian teams when they're picking certain guys? Are there certain regulations when it comes to that? Why would they pick a guy that has less experience, that they've only seen maybe in one tournament, over a guy that has more experience in South African cricket?
Right. So with respect to Marco Jansen, he's been on the radar of not only the Mumbai Indians, but generally Indian teams, because
and rightly
he
so.
bowled he he bowled to Virat Kohli and the Indian contingent when they had come to South Africa in 2017-18, and he was beating Virat Kohli 2 or 3 times and over, and that really got Ravi Shastri and the rest of the Indian team to sit up and take notice of these guys. Additionally, when around the same time, a few months later perhaps, when the India A team, which was coached by Rahul Dravid then, and had a bunch of the superstars like Manish Pandey and Mayank Agarwal, and all who later went on to, like Mayank Agarwal later went on to represent India as an opener in Test cricket. He was bowling to them in that tournament as well, and that's it. So he has been around this scene. As for why the Mumbai Indians picked him, Mumbai Indians has a world-class scouting infrastructure, and they've got they've had it for about 2 or 3 years now. And Marco Jansen has been monitored by the Mumbai Indians since at least 2018-19. So when the time came for the auction this year, they decided to go for it, because even Quinton de Kock made the recommendation that Marco Jansen was now ready to play at this level. So it's not, in these cases, it's never instinctive that this player looks good and I think he has potential. It has more to do with what your existing team balance is, and what role a potential player can play for you. So when Mark Jansen was selected and the first game of the IPL was being played, I thought he was going to play the role that perhaps Trent Bolt plays as central seamer. I didn't realize that he's going to play the role of the seaming all-rounder, which last season was played by Nathan Coulter-Nile. And that to me was incredibly interesting to see. So, look, I think team dynamics are a bit different, and they're the basis for how players get picked in the IPL. And I guess that's very specific to what the team feels that they need at that point. Same with, I'd say the same works for Gerald as well.
Yeah. So the thing over there that for me makes a difference is the fact that Marco Jansen got the opportunity to actually play against these players when the opportunity arose, and he took it. And because he performed well against those players, obviously India, they stood up and they took note, because he got the opportunity to be able to do that. Some maybe didn't get an opportunity to be picked in the South African setup to even get the chance to do so. I want to talk about Lungi because he's been thrown around in the comments as well. You guys are contradicting yourself in the comment section, and I'm not having a go at you, because you are saying that Lungi Ngidi is a quota player. But yet Lungi Ngidi has been picked in Chennai Super Kings for 3 seasons in a row, not based on quota, because you guys yourself said that quota doesn't happen in India. So he's not being picked because of the color of his skin. He was picked on ability by one of the best teams in the IPL. Now, what I want to ask you is, currently, yes, he's having a bad season. He hasn't had a season that we can say that is one of his best seasons. Compared to the first ever season that he played in 2018, we played 7 matches, took 11 wickets, had an average of 14 and had a economy rate of 6. And CSK won that tournament, if I'm not mistaken. When you look at it from the following season, he didn't play as much. He only played 4 games. He had a lot of injuries in that season, including the World Cup season. He's had a lot of injuries over the last couple of years that he's been battling with. But Ngidi hasn't been picked in the CSK team because of the color of his skin. So I want to see you guys give the same amount of criticism to the CSK staff and the selectors for picking Ngidi as you give me, who doesn't even select the team, for talking about Ngidi in his stream. Or by me even mentioning Ngidi's name, I get ostracized for that. So I want to see the same amount of criticism being given to your CSK teams that you're giving me, who doesn't even pick the teams for the Proteas. So that's all I want to see when it comes to that type of things. Do you have anything to say about that, Aditya? Because that's something that and that's something that I just want to talk about when it comes to certain players that get certain labels.
Look, Lungi Ngidi is a quality bowler. Okay, whether he's black African, colored or white, he's a quality bowler. Okay, no one can deny that. So let's not even get into the race argument or the quote argument. It doesn't matter. Lungi Ngidi this season, he had one bad game. Okay, let's not forget that against the Kolkata Knight Riders, he put in an excellent performance on a high-scoring wicket. They were defending 221, 4 overs, 28 runs, 3 wickets. That is an outstanding performance. Okay, now he had a bad game the other night against Karen Pollard, who was on a rampage. Okay, every bowler got smashed. He wasn't the only one. So let's not be unfair to Lungi there. Okay, every bowler failed to execute on that night, including Jasprit Bumrah. He had 4 overs, 56 runs, most expensive spell in Jasprit Bumrah's IPL career so far. So I think let's not be too harsh there. If you're talking about his IPL last year, again, he didn't play too much, but even that one game where he got smashed by Archer for 4 sixes, that was the first game being played in Sharjah by an IPL team in years. Okay, it was a flat wicket, it was a really small ground, and virtually anyone who would have bowled that over would have gotten smashed. So let's not be too harsh there. He's a quality bowler. He will continue to learn. Look, he was picked. He was picked by Chennai because the Chennai wicket works best for bowlers who can bowl wicket to wicket. Mm-hmm. Historically, Chennai has picked those sort of bowlers. Have you ever seen from 2008 to now, how many bowlers have really been express 150 kind of bowlers? The only guy would be Mark Wood. That's it. But other than that, they've always had a preference for wicket to wicket bowlers, and Lungi Ngidi fits that bill. So look, there isn't too much to worry about that. He'll learn and he'll get better. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you're making over there. And we have to talk about. There's a lot of other things we can talk about when it comes to certain selections. Now, when it comes to the World Cup, I've said it on many types of streams before, and this is my opinion and not the opinion of Cricket Fanatics magazine or any of the panelists on the show. I believe that for the World Cup, specifically for the World Cup, I didn't. They picking players on merit for the World Cup when you're going to go for a World Cup trophy like that when it's on one competition. I think they should pick players that they feel is the best 11 to win a game in a particular on a particular wicket against a particular side. They should be able to pick who they have available in that squad from the squad that they have available, and Boucher should pick, and their selection panel should pick accordingly. When you're talking about those type of things, they should actually pick based on merit when it comes to the World Cup itself. What I always said about the quota system, etc., and about transformation in South Africa is that transformation needs to stay. The way the quota system is implemented, I understand why they implement the quota system, but the quota system is only game by game in domestic cricket in South Africa, and that's a misunderstanding that people have when it comes to cricket in South Africa and selecting teams. The quota system is only a law within domestic cricket that you need to pick a certain amount of players of color. Aditya, we had a conversation. Just tell me yes or no if you're okay for me to speak about this, what we spoke about off air earlier on, when you were explaining to me about certain players, like you spoke about Rabada and you spoke about Antile and Lungi Ngidi, compared to maybe Temba Bavuma and maybe some other players from other. Are you okay with speaking about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just explain to them what you explained to me, because this actually opened my eyes as a South African growing up here about the way certain players are being branded and the opportunities that they've been getting.
Look, South African cricket, your starting point is school cricket. You know, the infrastructure for cricket is best in a school. So
Yeah.
you look at guys like Faf du Plessis, A.B. de Villiers, they went to Afis. Herschel Gibbs went to Bishops. These are reputed schools in South Africa. Graham Smith, Quentin de Kock went to King Edwards. These are reputed schools, and they were the platform that these cricketers used to eventually get into provincial and ultimately franchise cricket, after which they were selected for international cricket. So we have to realize that KG Rabada, okay, he's incredibly talented player, South Africa's best bowler. He comes from a fairly wealthy background. Okay, his parents are doctors, and he's quite educated. He went to good school, and he had the resources necessary to be able to become a professional cricketer. That's not to say that he didn't work hard. He worked incredibly hard. Okay, and he obviously has the talent for it. But that was his stepping stone. Lungi Ngidi, he comes from an underprivileged background, but he also went to he was able to get a scholarship for a school called Hilton in KwaZulu-Natal. And Hilton is also a reputed school in the country, and he made it to the South African national team. Hilton has the resources to be able to facilitate that. But there are a lot of other cricketers, such as Temba Bavuma, who grew up in a township called Langa in Cape Town, and then eventually, for more opportunity, he moved to Soweto, which is another township in Johannesburg, after which, in that period, he was able to get contracted with the Lions and pursue his career from there on. So the stories of various, colored and black African cricketers vary. But what we have to realize is that we have to look at these people individually, not brand them collectively as, quota or not. I think that's wrong. Everyone has their individual stories, their individual struggles, and we should respect that.
And that's the thing. When I was speaking about the quota system and when I was speaking about transformation specifically, I was talking about the opportunities that were given to certain people. And when I'm talking about people that are not given opportunities over other people from a young age already, you can see the differences. It's nothing to do with color. It's more got to do with situation and what people are, the way people are brought up. And the fact that poverty in South Africa is a massive problem in South Africa in our ratio, with regards to the ratios, the amount of poverty in South Africa is huge. But that's because there's a lot of poverty also in the rural areas, where majority of the people happen to be people of color, and in the poorer areas it happens to be people of color, because of the atrocities and everything, that all the negativity of apartheid and what is created has caused that to happen. And so 20 years after apartheid is ended, it's still affecting the people of South Africa and majority of the people of South Africa. So all I've asked for is for opportunities for guys that haven't got an opportunity. Whether it is a right decision to give guys opportunity at the highest level is a debatable topic that we can debate. But I do believe at school level that there needs to be opportunities for kids to be able to play the game. I've been asked in the comment section, who do I think is better at the moment, or who should be picked at the moment? Who should be picked at the moment between Morris and Andile Peklequayo? Based on form, Morris, the way Morris has been performing. But we haven't seen Morris in the Proteas setup. So until he gets picked in the Proteas setup and we see him perform, then we can decide who's going to be picked in the South African setup. I think that is obviously important, that you look at form as well. The balance they need to sort out. They need to make sure, South African cricket needs to make sure, and CSA needs to make sure that enough people of color are getting opportunities at domestic level. It shouldn't be a scamper around at the highest level on picking just because you want to meet transformation targets. They should be making sure that at the school level, we are producing enough players of color, that we're producing enough players of majority coming through the system, that we have the opportunity to pick players of color on merit. Because I'm telling you guys, white players are not getting ostracized in South African cricket. I can guarantee you that. There are 5 spots for white South Africans in every single team in domestic cricket, and those 5 spots are filled every single time. It's prioritized, in fact. You are allowed to pick 11 players of color in a domestic team. You're allowed to. It's a law. You can. It's chosen. It happens that they don't do so because they pick 6. They pick the bare minimum, right? White players are given opportunities in South Africa. There are players that get opportunities. Now, when you're going to compare players of color to a person on the same level as a same level white player and a player of color, it's going to start getting crazy. It's going to start getting mixed up when you're talking about certain things and pick certain players. Now, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the quota system. There's a lot. There are white players that are also not good. So don't use color to determine a player's ability. That's what I want to move away from. I don't want you to use color to say a person is bad or good. That is not the way it should be. It should be on performance and merit. It should be on the performances that you judge them on. Whether a player gets an extra opportunity over someone else based on situation in their background and what they've went through, the hardships that they've went through, that's also important. I mean, you said what a magnificent story is Makai Ntini that you explained to me, Aditya, as well. You told me a little bit of his background, and I also know about it. What he went through his whole career, coming from a rural area, coming from a difficult situation, and to be able to play for South Africa, that journey that he had to go on, I'm telling you, there would have been a tough journey for him to go on when it got to that. I mean, to get where he is today. So, guys, I promise you, we're going to do a quota episode when I've gotten all the guys that I can on a panel that we can discuss this openly and honestly, and I can get you guys the best possible explanation of how it works in South Africa, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to give an opinion right now of what I think and what I don't think and whether I believe in it or not believe in it. I want to give you guys an indication of what I believe is the right thing. Someone's asking me to pick my World Cup best 11 playing for the T20 World Cup based on the current system that we are looking for. I will go with, and I'm going to be authorized for this as well. I'm going to pick it based on what is available to me. The fact that Temba Bavuma is a captain, I believe that because he's the captain, he needs to play. So let me just get that out of the way first. So Faf du Plessis, I think he should open the batting with Quinton de Kock, and I think Temba Bavuma should come in at 3. I think Rassie van der Dussen should bat at 4. I think AB de Villiers should bat at 5 if AB is available. If AB is not available, then Miller should bat at 5. At number 6, I think that if AB is available, then at 6 I'll play Miller. And at 7, I think Chris Morris deserves an opportunity to show what he has to do in these games now, to show, because I mean he's really turning it up in the IPL. Number 8, I feel that someone like George Linde as a spinner is an opportunity to play over there as well. And then you get into your other bowlers. I think Kagiso Rabada gets an opportunity, Anik Nokia gets an opportunity, or Lungi Ngidi, because I mean Lungi is playing in the IPL currently, Andrich is not. And then obviously Imran Tahir, Tabray Shamsi. Now, dependable on the match situation, on situations as well. But you need 2 spinners in the team, of course. So obviously you're going to need to play 2 spinners. So that's why I think that at 7 and 8 you can have a bowling all-rounder and a spinning all-rounder to level it out. So basically that's the team that I think is a very good team to put out in the middle. Adila Peklokwaya needs to do a lot at right now to get some form to prove that he can bowl again, because I think that his abilities, his skill levels, like his slower deliveries and stuff, the way he's played before, he's had some excellent run of form, but he's currently not in the greatest of form at the moment. So in order for him to get into that side, it's going to be very difficult. I think Sasanda Magala also is going to be, if they're going to continue with his selection, I can only pick from the squad that they select. So let's see what they come up with, and we can obviously go against and debate the lineups when it comes to that. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Aditya, any final words?
Yeah, I suppose to everyone in the comment section, we appreciate your insight, but let's not get into this debate of who is a merit player and who's a quota player. Everyone who is in that South African setup is a merit player. They're considered to be good enough to play for South Africa, irrespective of their background. So let's not get that. I guess we can have our individual opinions as to who should make the World Cup squad or not. But yeah, let's not get into the merit versus quota debate. And secondly, I think watch the IPL. Watch out for the South Africans in the IPL. I'm very excited to see how Gerald Coetzee goes. I'm sure that he'll get at least 2 or 3 games, depending on what the schedule is. I think you all know that the game tonight was cancelled because 2 players in Kolkata Knight Riders team tested positive. So yeah, just keep at it. Get excited, because there's plenty of the South Africans in the IPL this year. Everyone is doing really well. So I think there's a lot to be happy about, and it only bodes well for South Africa's campaign in the World Cup later this year. So I think there's a lot to be optimistic about, and I think that's the note that we should finish on.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Thanks a lot for Aditya for coming on the show. And I'll obviously have to rethink my 11, because I maybe have went with one short bowler. I can't think of it like that in my head. Let me take my time, and we can have a picking the best 11 episode where we talk about our best 11s, and you guys can also do that. I just want to stick to the topic at hand. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll see you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and do all of those things as well. We're getting closer and closer to 2,000 subscribers. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everybody.